Becoming Non-Duality, a trip report by Shane. This is a submission from a subscriber, by the way. I have done LSD over 100 times, but nothing compares to the sheer intensity and profound effect this trip had on me. I'm still not totally sure what the dosage of these tabs were, but I would say they were a minimum of 300 UGs. I woke up early in the morning and spent most of the morning prepping for what was going to be the first acid trip in a little over a year. Little did I know, there was no prepping for something like this. I started by setting my intentions. I wrote down a few things such as, I want to get in touch with my inner self, to overcome my addictions and get back in touch with the universe. I prepped myself by eating lightly and meditating. I then proceeded to the largest local park in my area and dropped. They were small, blue, pyramid-shaped gel tabs with gold flakes. I put on some Pink Floyd and began to walk around. It seemed to kick in a lot faster than usual, approximately 15 minutes. I started feeling rather distant, and just the familiar acid head change. About 20 minutes after that, I started to lose my ego entirely. I kept repeating names of people I knew throughout my life, just to stay grounded. But after some time, these just became meaningless sounds. My body became this unfamiliar vessel, and I could no longer properly hold on to anything or use my hands. It felt as though my body was being left behind. I remember stopping and falling to my knees and screaming, "Oh God, please no," as loud as I could. It was at this point I didn't even remember taking the drug. I had convinced myself something horrible had happened and I had passed away. I thought of my mother and how devastated she was going to be when she found out I was no longer here. I was taken into another universe, where I embodied the concept of duality. I was good and evil, chaos and order, dark and light. It was my sole duty to meditate between these concepts. I would act out this process by maintaining a straight line while I walked. If I were to walk too far to one side, I would feel a painful, uncomfortable sensation all over my body I still can't explain. It was as though I was being torn apart at the atomic and subatomic level, along with the entire universe. When I looked at my hands, they no longer existed. They were somehow transparent. The number 3 was put into my mind. This represented duality, and what encompasses duality. Think of yin and yang, but also the circle that surrounds it. I realised everything we do is based on this concept, to keep a balance between chaos and order. We spend our whole lives doing this, and don't even realise it. I realised I was also language itself. Language is how we communicate duality. Everything we do is an agreed upon concept that somehow represents this in one way or another. The concept of eternity made sense to me. It all seemed so simple. It was as though I could perceive everything, everywhere, and every time period all at once. As the trip went on, I continued to spiral down through different dimensions, which felt like eternity. There was no time. It was irrelevant here. In order to ever escape, I had to continue my job of meditating the universe. After some time of this, I felt like I made some headway through this space, and I was ultimately led to the very dimension I started in. My consciousness was recomposed, and my visual field seemed to reconstruct right before my very eyes. The universe was coming back together. It was beautiful. It was like seeing everything for the first time. It's exactly what I imagined a newborn would feel like. It felt so familiar yet so alien at the same time. I realised I had been standing in front of a woman's picnic just staring for who knows how long. Since this trip, I've questioned the nature of reality itself quite a bit. Everything compared to this feels so superficial and meaningless. I seriously wonder if this reality we are living in is even the true reality. We are essentially slaves to this level of sensory awareness, and it's experiences like this that truly make it obvious that there is so much more outside of this reality.